Hello, welcome back, Boxer1 here, and today we're going to be looking at this. This is the LEGO Harry Potter Hogwarts game that came out back in 2010. It comes with a bunch of named and unnamed characters, a very nice board which is different from all of the rest, and some very cool gameplay and features. So, I do hope you'll enjoy, and we're going to be looking at this as well as how to play it. So, let's get into it. And the first thing we'll look at is the figures. Now, I'm going to angle these guys with my fingers because it's kind of hard to get the glare off them on camera. We'll just really need the middle two to be a little bit more angled like that. These are the Harry Potter characters you may see on the, going from left to right. Draco Malfoy, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, and then Harry Potter himself. And it's weird that they included these guys because they're not actually used in the game. You actually use different player characters that are unnamed when actually playing. These are simply in the game because it's Harry Potter, which is kind of cool. I don't think LEGO would do that now. I think they would either make these characters the actual game pieces, or they just wouldn't include them. So it's very cool to get these guys, even though they're not used in the game, and I think they do actually look pretty good when compared to both their larger figure version and then the actual people. Very nice. And the next setup here are the actual game pieces. Now you can see why these were chosen as the game pieces, because they're different colors. They're easy to distinguish, whereas the other guys weren't. We have the green one, the blue one, the yellow one, and the red one. They don't have names, but they are for the four clans, or whatever you call them. Four houses, I think they're called, not clans. Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and then the fourth one, Gryffindor. I believe. Very, very cool. I actually like these ones, and I think they look pretty good. Just as students, if you have like a micro scale Harry Potter mock, these guys would be kind of a cool little Easter egg in there. Very nice. The last figure in this set is Dumbledore, and he's actually in a very unique dark red color. Now, he looks really good. I actually really like him, and I don't like having to hold these figures for reviewing them. I like having it clean without my hand in the picture. But anyway, yeah, he looks good. I actually really like how he looks with the dark red. A very cool figure, and he is actually used in the game in some of the modified rules for it. But that's very cool. The last figure, if you can even call it that, is Mrs. Norris. Now, this is the lady that can turn into a cat in the show, and for it, you get a cat. You don't get the lady, but you do get a cat. And I think that's even better. I mean, they could have printed just another one of those figures, but instead they included a cat in dark brown. Now you can see, this is really cool, and I don't actually have any other ones of these, so yeah, really, really nice to get it in a relatively cheap set. I forget how much it retailed for, probably about $20, $40 maybe, I'd guess, $40, $50. Maybe less, I forget, but either way, a very nice thing to get, and a very cool thing to have. The last thing we'll be looking at under this little white background is the dice. Now, this dice has some cool things on it. It has the 1, 2, and 3, which 2 is on the bottom. Very simple. These come in a lot of sets. Those are easy to print, or easy to get, I mean. Then we have these exclusive ones. This, I'll tell you what all these do, but I'm just showing them to you now. You get this very nice one with the tourney things on it, and you also get the Marauders map, which is a very cool thing from, I believe, the fifth movie, maybe the fifth movie. I don't remember much, but I haven't watched it in quite a while. But you do get that, just two cool printed pieces. You also get these two, a dark red and a brown tile with a wrench to actually remove the tiles from the thing. I'll try and do it here if I can. It may be hard, but so you simply put your wrench under there. Since it's rubber, it can actually get underneath and you can lift it up. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you can kind of see how you do it. And with the figures out of the way, we can now get on to the actual build, and it's pretty cool. It's not on a 32 by 32 base plate, it's actually just built out of tiles, so very simple there. You do have these 4 quarters, or dorm rooms type things for each character, and they also have these 4 things on the side, which we'll talk about their use soon. But they have flags designated them. There's jumper tile designated them, tiles, all that type of thing. You do get this to the front, which is off-center. It's supposed to be off-center, which is kind of annoying, but you do get this very nice entrance to the actual Hogwarts place. which is kind of cool, and it has a very cool exclusive printed piece on it, which is nice. It just has all the common rooms on there. Then you also have these squares. Now these squares in the middle are very cool. They are actually on tiles, which means you can lift them up, and these are actually large tiles here, and you can actually take them off. And we'll show also what that's used for later when we get to the rules. But you do have 4 classrooms. You have this one, which simply has some potions in it. This one, which has the little animals. There's 2 different types of frogs and 2 spiders. I actually think that's really cool that you get a blue spider here. Then you have these books, very simple, in here, and you just simply can take those out. Kind of hard to get in, but I mean, they're really simple. And then we have this tower, which is also really cool. Now, how you actually get into these is the more interesting thing. You have to have a brown piece matching up. You can only you move by these larger brown pieces. You don't move by the tiles. So this is one space, this is another, this is another. Kind of see how that works. And these tiles just designate which ways you can go. Like you could go here, but you're not connected to a tile here, so you can't. And you can only go where tiles connect. Like this brown door connects to this tile, so you can go there. This brown tile connects to this tile, you can go there. Very simple like that. And then, obviously, as I said, the spaces are quite large. You don't have to go across every tile. It's just these big blocks. But yeah, you can get into these rooms only through these doors or through these tiles. And yes, I knocked that over. These come off pretty easily. They're not really too secure, but they're pretty big, so they're not easy to lose. But yeah, that's the only way you can get into these rooms, and that's going to be important for actually talking about them later when we get into the rules, which actually that later is right now. And getting into the instruction book, not to be confused with the construction manual that shows you how to build the set, we can actually look at how to actually put it together and how to set it up. So for this, it shows you the aim of the game, be the first player to find your way through the shifting Hogwarts castle to reach your classes, collect the items you need to complete your homework, and return to the common room. Very simple, and those pieces of homework are actually just these, and you can put one on each pedestal, and once you have all of your color, you win. But there are some hard things to get around to actually get to your stuff. As you can see, you can't get to all classrooms simply because you're not connected. So you gotta actually move the shifting staircases, which we'll talk about in a second. But to talk about that, we must first talk about the dice. Now, I showed you everything on the dice, so I'm just going to tell you what it does. And we can get into the first thing, which is these little number cards, or number pieces. 1, 2, and 3. Very simple. They designate how many shifts of the staircases you get. And by shifts, I mean you can move the staircases. Which is, I mean, kind of in the name of the game, shifting staircases. But it's very cool, and I'll show you how to do that. You can only shift up to the number you have here. You don't have to shift all of them. Say you get a 3 and you only want to shift 2. You can only shift 2 if you want. But it kind of shows you a diagram of how to do it. This is kind of a example. If you get a 3, you can remove 1. That will go back on at the end. And then you can shift, and then shift some more. And then finally at the end you have to put your thing back. However, you cannot shift classrooms and you cannot shift spaces with characters on them. Which is kind of interesting. I know the classrooms thing, but the characters on them is kind of another interesting thing to remember. And to put that into action, say we roll a 3. We have a 3 here. This is how you do it. You simply take this off. Say this is your first move. This is perfectly fine. You can just put that over there, and then you can start shifting things. You can push this, if it will. Well, some of these are kind of out of. Come on. You can see I'm very good at this. This is what's off, I think. Yeah, that one's off. But anyway, you can shift that. Now, your second shift would be this. You can move this here, and you can move this here. Now, you can put this back, and now you have a path, if you're red, to get over here. Green has a path to get, well, you now blocked off green, blue, and yellow from actually getting to their tasks. Green can actually get here, or yellow can actually get here, but that's kind of the aim of the game. You have to try and block everybody else, but get every piece of homework that you need. If that kind of makes sense. Not only, though, do you get to shift things, but if you actually get a 3, you also get to move your character 3 spots. So now you're in your little room here. And yeah, very, very cool. You just have to get all the pieces of yours and put them back. And by shifting the staircases and stuff like that, that's how you actually get to them. But say you need to actually get a player away from the room and you didn't get a shift, but you actually got this. This is the rotate a staircase piece. And you get that, you're able to rotate a staircase, as it kind of suggests, and that kind of blocks off a character. Now, when you're shifting things, you have to put this back the way that you got it. And I believe this was the way that it came facing in here. But you got to put this back the way you got it. When shifting a staircase, you can actually turn it around. And that's really cool because that also blocks off anybody, say blue's trying to get to, or yellow is trying to get to this room. You shift the staircase, they can't get to that room anymore. Very good way to kind of block players from getting what they need to win. The final thing is the Marauders map. Now that one's a very cool thing from, I believe, the same movie. It was the snowy one. I forget what movie it was, but it was a very cool movie, that one. And it shows you how to actually get into classrooms without even using a staircase, which is kind of cool. That means if you're yellow right here, and you're actually, say you're on here instead of over there, because that won't help you anymore. Say you're yellow and you're stuck, you can't get over there, and you didn't roll one of these, but you rolled this, you can simply shift into here. And you can only move in a cross pattern around you, so you can't move diagonally, and you can't move multiple spaces, but you do get, and I always keep knocking this thing down, you do get to move into there freely, which is very cool, and kind of skips you having to rotate everything around. It can always be useful as well if you already got something from a classroom and you need to get in a second one, but they're not connected. You can just simply Marauders map into here, which is a very useful thing. Here you can see just some other stuff about moving the character. It tells you more about the brown things and all that, and how to move your character. You can pause and read whenever you'd like, but winning the game means you just have to collect all 4 pieces of homework, which means a lot of shifting staircases, a lot of blocking other players, and a lot of using the Marauders map. Now there are some more optional rules, which are kind of interesting, and the first one is using the red square that we showed off with the dice. Now if you roll this, you get Dumbledore to help you collect that piece, and anybody can use Dumbledore, and he always gets access to the Marauders map, which is pretty cool. So Dumbledore starts over here. Now, he can only move, I believe, 1 space at a time, so he's kind of slow, but he can move, say he gets his turn, somebody rolls a red, he can use the Marauders map and get here. And if he rolls another red, say they don't have this thing, but they have this thing, he can use the Marauders map to get here. He constantly has it, which means he can move any square, and he works for any player. So if you get him 1 round, that doesn't mean he'll help you another. And another player can try and sabotage that. Say your thing that you need is here, and they think you're going to get Dumbledore, they can move you away from it. Very cool. That is, of course, if they do roll a red, though. The last thing in this game, or one of the last things in terms of dice movement, which if it will focus, that would be great, is Mrs. Norris, the cat. And she is a very cool area denial. There we go. Area denial ability. Basically, you put her in a place, and nobody else can go there. So, say Red's here, he can't move into that space. So he's kind of stuck. He's got to either get a Marauders map and move here, or get one of those shifty things and shift his current staircase here. So it's kind of a hard and very interesting thing to do, and also kind of a good way to get players to not get what they need. The last thing we have to talk about is dueling. Now, dueling is pretty cool. It's a very simple premise, but it does have some cool things to it. Say you are red, and the green moves into that room with you. Now you have to duel him for the homework, which is kind of an interesting premise. And you do this with the dice. Now, this means 0. You get 0 points. 1, 2, and 3 are self-explanatory, and the Marauders map is worth 4 points. Whoever scores higher wins the duel, and the losing player has to move into an adjacent square or classroom, or the winning player moves them, so they don't really have an advantage there. But if you roll the same thing, whoever moved into the room last wins the duel. So say green moves into the room and you're already in it, they win if you roll the same thing. But yeah, that's basically it. I do hope you enjoyed, and if anything was hard to understand, I apologize for that. You can always look up the rules for yourself online, as well as pausing the video and rewinding it if it was difficult to understand. But I do think it's a very fun game, and I do think it looks very cool. I personally think it's one of my favorites. It's not my favorite. I think the Time Twisters one is my favorite. But yeah, a very cool game for 2010. And also, not that bad price for how much you get. I actually got this one for, I believe, $30, $35, which is a bit high. I usually only pay about $20 maximum for these games, usually about $10, like my normal pricing on it. But I was willing to do that for this one because it's so cool and I really like it. But yeah, I do hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you next time where we'll be looking at probably another LEGO game. So I shall see you then. Goodbye.